And the bad news is HS Tikky Tokky, Ed Matty, have been involved in a massive brawl on Magaluf strip. And they were fighting three brothers from Scotland, one of which was a professional boxer called Martin Crossan. We've all must have heard about this by now. It happened about 3 days ago. The situation was Ed Matthews and Harrison Sullivan, HS Tikky Tokky, were out doing their filming, their IRL content, the streaming that they do where they go bar to bar, you know, and they're normally antagonising people, trying to approach people's birds and getting altercations and this, that and the other. But they weren't actually doing anything wrong in this situation as of yet. Because when I first got told about it, when my mate sent me the footage, I went, oh, well, they've obviously gone up to someone's missus and tried chatting them up and someone's got annoyed and they've got into a punch-up. But that was not the situation. HS and Ed Matthews go into a bar. HS goes, it's getting a bit rowdy in here. Three Scottish lads turn round, fired up. Then one of them's being all right to him in the first place, going, oh, this bloke's just hit our table and knocked our drinks over, and they're having a bit of a laugh. Then one of them, they're arguing amongst themselves. HS is off the camera, and one of them turns round and realises he's being filmed, and he starts going, get me off the fucking camera, get me off the fucking camera, this, that and the other. That guy with the big tattoo across his chest with the black hair is Martin Crossan. 9-3 professional boxer. Now, in his 9 wins, he's only had 1 knockout, so he's obviously not a prolific puncher. But to have a 9-3 record as a pro, you've got to be pretty good. I must have fought as an amateur and stuff. A definite scrapper. So it goes on. He's going, get me off the camera. So they're walking away. Then he's walking back on the camera, going, get me off the camera. And Ed Matthews is clapping back, going, you keep walking onto the camera. Bearing in mind, they don't know who this guy is. They just think he's a random Scotsman who's fucking giving them lip. So they leave the club. And HS is the bigger man in this situation. It spills out into the road. They're still going on. He's going, I'm going to break your jaw, this and that. We all know HS likes a scrap. Ed Matty's been involved in a few scraps. Now, I don't think Ed Matthews is a tough guy whatsoever, but Harrison Sullivan most certainly is a tough guy. He's a black belt in karate. He was the youngest black belt in the UK, if I remember rightly. And he fought on Misfits twice, got 2 first-round knockouts. I think it was twice. Pretty sure it was twice. And he's been in street fights galore. There's footage out there of him fighting loads of people. And he likes to scrap as well. But he was being the bigger man in this situation. He was trying to diffuse it, trying to stop the issues, and eventually he went, right, I've had enough now, stop trying to draw me out. And the Scots guys wouldn't stop. One of them's grabbed the other one, and all hell ensues. Massive brawl. And it results in Harrison Sullivan, Ed Matthews, a security guard, and potentially a cameraman beating the shit. There was another guy in a pink t-shirt, I think he was a cameraman, just beating the fucking shit. Beating the piss out of these 3 Scottish guys who are obviously, I don't know if all 3 of them are pro boxers, but one of them definitely is, who boxes at a decent level. The other 2 definitely know what they're doing. But yeah, they get battered, absolutely battered. Now, fair enough they were drunk. Fair enough there was 1 extra person in there, but they started the whole thing. And the size difference, except for Ed Matthews is about the same size as him. Harrison Sullivan's about 6'2", and the security guard, big black security guard, just looked like Mark Henry. He was a giant. So the security guard couldn't fight whatsoever. And I think he's broken his hand. He could barely throw a punch. Harrison Sullivan has broken his hand, and Ed Matthews has broken his foot. In the melee, the boxers have deleted their Instagrams. We're getting a lot of backlash. We're getting terrorised. I can't imagine Martin Crossan, it's going to be very good for his boxing career going forward if he had any sponsorships or whatever else. They've got off social media because they were obviously getting it big time. And HS is on the lookout for a new security guard. Q, our favourite Irish brawler, the hardest man in Ireland. Here he is. The Shadow Boxer, the Pit of Doom originator. Now, he's been chiming back and forth with HS Tikky Tokky for a while, offering him, trying to fight him. And now they're looking for a new security guard. And a few people have said in Harrison Sullivan's chat, the Shadow Boxer wants the job. HS has been curious. Can he scrap? Can he not? And I'm here to tell you, he can scrap. He certainly can. And he's good for content. He's very funny. It would be brilliant in an environment. So go on the Shadow. So the Shadow Boxer has replied, made a compilation of him doing his screaming and shouting and some of his fights, knocking out Andy Goy, sparring a couple of people, knocking out Bash, a few other bits and pieces, trying to fight Thomas Carty. And it's looking like there's some potential that Harrison Sullivan may well take him on, because he can't defend himself. Mark Henry wasn't very good at defending him in the first place. Would the Shadow Boxer be a very good bodyguard and security guard? He's quite a big guy. He can definitely handle himself. I'm sure he's very good at being, like we've seen with the Bad to the Bone situation, the Paul Venice situation. You've seen with the Thomas Carty situation. He's very good at controlling a room and making himself the centre of attention. So I can imagine he would be quite good at making him in a conflict sort of situation with two groups arguing, or one group being aggressive to another group where he's not really involved. I can imagine him making himself the centre of attention and putting some authority down in the situation and being able to break it up. I can imagine him that being something he's good at. And then obviously if it was to come on top and they needed someone to jump in and break a fight up or whatever else, there's no reason why he couldn't. And if he was to bring out, I know, because he wanted to bring Homeless Mickey with him, which would be funny. And I know Homeless Mickey's a bit of a joke, but he is actually a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and there's footage of him just rolling that security guard up in that shop, and just fucking throwing him around like an empty tracksuit. So I'm sure that if fucking them two lunatics get taken out there to Zante or whatever, with Mickey being the actual skills with a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Shadow Boxer being a big guy who can wrestle and who can definitely punch when needed, especially against pissed up people out on the strip, like. If you look at the size of those three boxers who are in their mid-20s, you've got Shadow Boxer who's in his late 30s, who's fucking about 17 stone. There really only would have been one winner in that situation, I think. So Shadow Boxer would be a very, very good bodyguard for HS Tikky Tokky. And Ed Matty, admittedly, I'm not the biggest Ed Matthews fan, but he has grown on me, I will say. I did used to think he was a bit of a moron, but going to watch some of his footage, I think he's a bit more clever than he lets on. He knows what he's doing. He's a good comedy character. So can you imagine putting the Shadow Boxer into the mix with those two and then letting them out on the Zante strip after Shadow Boxer's had a few Guinnesses? It would be comedy gold. So let me know what you think, boys, down below in the comments. Should Shadow Boxer get the job? How would it look if he went out there? Could he protect him? And would it make good content? Adios. Thanks for watching. Le Bosch.